now for people to yell at us.
Now for people to yell at us. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, we did our solo play for Hostage Negotiator. If you didn't see it, I went up against Donna Scarborough, abductor.
Yeah, that was fun.
Abductor of students.
I was not allowed to join.
Nope. Ken Shockley, our good friend, chimed in. He believes the deck was stacked against me. RFCPD should not have put me in that situation. I tend to agree. And he checked out Donna Scarborough on Facebook. It turns out she's a fan of the Cerberus engine deck building games, which is why she could tell I did not mean any of my small talk. I wasn't being sincere. I think that's probably the case.
Yeah, see, that's what your issue was. You should have gone straight and going, look, here's the deal. I've got equipment cards. I'm going to combo out like you've never seen before.
That would have really made the difference. It would have made the difference. I got rid of all my weaknesses and whatever.
That's the problem. She saw how many weaknesses you had.
It's hard to make small talk. But if you haven't seen that video,
check it out. It's really fun.
Check it out.
References.
We also talked about recently misogyny and harassment, right. Fun topics. Rico Cordova says that this is kind of not the directly misogynistic, as he is a man, but he stopped going to meetups and friendly local gaming stores because of what he calls, quote, overwhelming personalities, which includes profane, loud, non-hygienic, or otherwise annoying people.
No, I agree that they like play a role, but that's like a whole separate thing. It's definitely. I think that's it's the core of the alpha gamer, and they can really turn off a lot of people to your area, because even if you are there are decent ones that are friendly, but they're just so outgoing and talking that when you go into the store you feel very awkward if you're new, or you're not as confident. Mm-hmm. But plenty of them that I know that understand that, know how to take that to their advantage and be like, instead of trying to push you through the door, even if you know there's good things on the other side of the door, they'd be like, look, here's Magic the Gathering, just tell me if you want to check it out, I'll explain the rules. The trick is, and I know plenty of people who have ruined things for, like my friends have said how they hated things, not because they've actually watched a show, this is somewhat related, but because someone kept talking about it and like...
Right, when you hear about something so much, you're like, oh geez, I don't want to check that out, I'm tired of it already.
So the trick is you want people to... Actually, no, you do a very good job. You say like...
Thank you.
You say more like, this is really good and stuff. You're not like, look, in this episode, this is like...
I meant I was on the other end. When I hear about a lot of things.
I've had things. No, like, the trick is, and the problem is I think a lot of people don't understand this board games, and that's the issue, is understanding, like, hey, look, if you want to play Catan, we'll tell you how to play it. We're not going to force you. Just look around, see what you like. If you're interested in Magic, I'll show you a couple turns. And that's the trick. It's showing the door instead of opening the door for them.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. That is what I hope more stores strive to do, because otherwise, until then, Rico Cordova and his wife
keep the door closed.
Will be staying at home. Yeah, do you think they should start banning people from stores?
No, yeah, they
should have two sections: friendly people and unfriendly people.
I don't know if that's. I don't know. First of all, if there's any.
Well, what they should do is have a new players' night.
That, I think, is a great idea.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, very beneficial. And, I think there's certain rules that should be followed at the new players' night. And I think what they should do is also just, if, let's say, they choose to have a new player night, to go, like, maybe some of the regulars, like, hey, how to play Catan? Would you be willing to try to teach people? Not play with them, you teach them. That's
right.
But and just have sort of that fun, just put on some ambient music or something, and not allow people to have their hands open and stuff.
Yeah. I think that's a good way, because then people get their feet wet, and then they'll start coming to the regular ones, but they won't be as scared, maybe.
Right.
Intimidated. Yeah. And last comment we had comes from Barry Hansen, who was talking. I guess we were talking about video games at one point with board games, because we
always do that.
We tend to always do that. And they were saying that they've lost some of their love for video games, and that board gaming is now giving them the feeling they used to get from video games. And seeing as the board game industry is growing and growing, they think maybe they're not alone in that. I don't know if maybe you or I have experienced some of this a little bit too, just based on our what we do now every day of our lives, but it's an interesting thing that coming to board games from video games, that maybe video games have started to become a little stale for people, and board games kind of represent potentially a fresher, new look at.
Well, yeah, I do
playing.
think that's partly, and I think another reason that I feel I've enjoyed at least some video games. Board games have these too, but a lot of the ones we play don't. Is a lot of video games I currently am playing right now almost guilt me, like. I gotta make sure I can do every daily bounty. There's the weekly event. I gotta get that weekly event.
There's season passes and DLC. And
yeah, like with the board game. Well, no, I mean not even considering those. I'm talking about things like time. There's like a time. If you don't do it within the time, it's gone. Like a board game, you just sit down, you open up. I never feel that as much.
Certainly for newer video games, yeah. Well, especially it's even worse if you're doing stuff like Candy Crush or anything like that, or MMOs or.
And I think another big thing, which is I think a big issue with video games, that board games has that we didn't think about it till now. Mm-hmm. We've lost the side-by-side multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the social aspect of board games is very different in modern terms, at least. It gives you a much different feeling.
And, in video games,
even in old terms,
it used to be if we wanted to play GoldenEye, we'd visit each other's house and we'd go and play it. Nowadays, that's not the case anymore. And what happens now, I think a lot more, is because we're not sitting next to the people we're playing with. You tend to, when you get angry, shout profanity and get angry, like go overboard. Can you imagine trying to say all the things you see sometimes online if we were just sitting next to each other?
No, it's they get a little scarier.
I think the side by side takes that away a lot.
Yeah.
And in most cases, then it also builds a lot more, because maybe when those do come up, it's sort of jokey, like, "Oh, how dare you do that?" And like, it's sort of like when you insult someone, but it's because you're friends, you can insult each other.
Right. I think some of it is though. It's like the grass is always greener. Like if you do something for a long time, you're gonna eventually get tired of it and see something new. Like, I kind of go back and forth where sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so tired of playing board games. Like we never get to play video games anymore. I'm like, oh, this new video game came out. Oh wow, I remember video games. These are fun. And then I go back to the other way.
But I think what's nice about that style is, interesting enough, the ones I can think of when we do that, often games when we sit side by side, like Smash Brothers.
Right.
Like where
well, it's either that or it's just me by myself.
Right. I think that that was the other thing I wanted to mention in particular. I know this is for you and I is the case. I don't know about other people out there. We have a social battery.
Right.
And when we're with people, I mean, we love being with people, but there comes a point when we're like, I don't want to be around anyone.
Right. Video games are your recharge period, and then when you go back to the game night for the physical board games. Yeah, both are good. We love both. Obviously, we love board games.
There's a reason why we talk about both.
Or we wouldn't be here.